As a law enforcement officer, I attest that my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all persons to ensure liberty, equality, and justice.
Welcome to Gainesville PD On Duty, the show that takes you behind the badge of the Gainesville Police Department. My name is Officer Ben Tobias, and I'm the spokesperson for the agency. For the past year or so, I've had the pleasure of having different folks from around the agency join me. Today, I'm happy to have Officer Justin Torres back in the studio with us.
Thanks, Ben. It's always good to be here. As you all may remember, I'm one of the department's crime prevention officers. My team works hard to provide tips and techniques to help you reduce your chances of being the victim of a crime. And I'm happy to report that our efforts are paying off, and our crime rate is slowly going down.
We have a very special story to share with you today. It's the story of how a local gang member came to realize that he was not living the life that he wanted, and how a GPD officer helped him get onto the right path. Then we'll end the episode with a look at a recent community project done by our command staff. Gangs are an unfortunate reality everywhere, and Gainesville can't escape it either. We know that there are some members of our community that are hell-bent on causing havoc and violence in our city, no matter how much we try to prevent it. One of those gang members is a man by the name of Guy Williams. Guy was the leader of a neighborhood gang in East Gainesville until something happened that changed his life forever. I had the opportunity to sit down with him recently and talk about growing up in the gang life in Gainesville.
I wanted to be successful. I didn't want to be a statistic, and I didn't want to be what they wanted me to be. I want to be great. Well, growing up in Gainesville was basically, it was kind of tough. I grew up with my grandmother, 4-bedroom house, but we had a lot of people in there. We had my uncle, my auntie, majority of my cousins, my grandma and my grandfather. So I slept in the laundry room. I kind of felt like the outcast of the family because I was being treated different from everybody. That's how I felt. It was school, it was kind of hard. Sometimes I didn't want to go to school. Sometimes I went to school, and when I did go to school, I got picked on. So I start letting it bottle up. So I got in fights repeatedly. I got in fights over and over and over. And I was taking it out on everybody except for the people who I was supposed to be taking it out on. I felt like ain't nobody cared, so it just made me feel down. My dad, he was in the picture. I see him every now and then. He'll give me some money and stuff, but other than that, we separated. To me, my reputation was everything because I felt like when I was young that was everything. If I couldn't get no attention from my family or attention from anyone else, I felt like I can get it from my friends. At first, it was not a gang. It was basically a rap group. We used to rap. You know, it was my family. I felt like I was family, so I can stick with them. And then we started basically getting dissed, and people would come to us and talk trash to us. So that's when we became a gang. And my reputation is my gang, so I got the biggest part of everything. I had to make sure we stayed up, or ain't nobody gonna disrespect us.
So you know them guns clacking. Click, clack, bang, so you know that I be packing.
Well, fighting, that was the main thing. We all got in a fight, and it was actually a big fight.
Yeah. Smash him! Get him! Get him! Walk that! Smash that pig! Keep on, son.
I got jumped, and I felt like they not just gonna get away with this, and that was gonna be the end of it. So I started recruiting. Everybody else started recruiting. You had 2-5, you had Glow Gang, you had Camo Gang. Honestly, at the time, that was the most important thing to me because it was unity. We felt like a family. I felt like a family to them. They felt like a family to me. I make sure they're straight as long as they make sure I was straight. Make sure I had respect, regardless of if I had to beat up somebody who was in my gang or had to let them go. Respect, that basically was everything. All about family. People want to feel like a family, or people want to feel like they're something. If somebody tells them they're nothing, they'll go out and come intertwine with a gang in order to feel unity and feel like a family. I got into an actual big gang fight. Something that changed my whole life. I ended up getting hit in the head with pole in a gang fight. It happened at my own birthday party. It was not like I was going out to fight. It's because of what I built up, like the reputation that I was messing up and I was doing bad and I wanted karma, or however you want to put it. I ended up getting hit in the head with a pole, actual thick pole. Later that night, I ended up having a seizure. Not knowing what a seizure was, not knowing what any of that was, because I never had like problems. I never had problems. Like my health and everything, it was all fine. My brother, he ended up coming in there and he asked me was I okay, because he knew I had an injury and stuff, but they say you're not supposed to go to sleep when you have an injury. I ended up was going to sleep, and the next thing I know, I was gone. All I see is white. I didn't wake up until all I know is I'm in an ambulance. And I'm thinking like, hold on, what just happened? What just happened? And the last thing I remember, I'm just thinking about it, the last thing I was just thinking about was, dang, I just got in a fight. That just changed my whole life. That just changed everything. Like, all I was thinking about, I could have died and I should have chose a different life, and why didn't I do this sooner? Why I didn't just stop? I thought after that first seizure, everything would be okay. It'll never happen again. I ended up going to a fair. I got targeted at the fair. The police officer, he came and he stopped me. Everybody else was fine. Everybody else was going to the fair and everything, but he stopped me and targeted me and told me I couldn't go into the fair because of my past. So he tried to arrest me, not knowing I have seizures. And not even knowing that, I didn't even know I was gonna have a seizure. I didn't even know that, I thought everything was gonna be fine. It occurs whenever I get overly excited or end up getting like very mad. I never expected that to happen. So I had a seizure and he thought I was playing. Basically, that's what the streets got me, and that's what fighting got me, and that's what a gang got me. A life-turn injury.
Guy is very similar to a lot of neighborhood gang members in our city. They are looking for inclusion, and they want to feel loved and appreciated. After the break, we sit back down with Guy and learn how one GPD officer helped him change his life forever.
I actually don't remember anything from the accident. Crossing the intersection of 13th Street and 39th Avenue, and a truck pulled out in front of me. Wearing all black also doesn't help, so I was wearing all black. I had a son behind me. My head went full force into the hood of the truck that pulled out in front of me. I would definitely not be here if I hadn't been wearing a helmet. I would still ride again, but I would ride knowing that I risk my life every time I get on the bike. I think everyone should know that.
I will maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule. Develop self-restraint and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of my department. Together as a community, we foster order, safety, and freedom.
GPD has 2 full-time gang investigators that are tasked with monitoring and investigating incidents of gang-related activity in our city. Our mission is to prevent gang crime if possible, offer intervention strategies for gang issues that already exist, and suppress violence as much as we can. We understand that there are some gang members that only know that life and will never change, so we will continue to aggressively arrest those people.
Officer LaJarvis Cook and Corporal Marquita Brown are GPD's gang investigators, and they relentlessly try to work with our gangs to find ways to stop the violence. Corporal Brown wouldn't give up on Guy, and after his injury, something finally clicked that helped him change his life forever.
Let's hear more from Guy Williams on how things have changed since that moment.
We was doing everything that we felt like we was supposed to be doing, fighting, making sure our reputation stay up. Then what changed was me. Ms. Marquita Brown, she actually had faith in me. She talked to me, and she came and spoke to me about the situation and what I was doing was not right. And actually, she came on her own time. She didn't have to come. She came repeatedly over and over and over. Because at first, I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to listen to nothing she was saying. I felt like, you know what I'm saying, she was just another cop. Or she just wanted me to do this because this is what she wants. This is what she wants. But then we actually started sitting down and talking more and more and more. And she was getting into my personal life and getting into details. And I was telling her about me, and she was telling me about what she had going on. And I started thinking about it like, she right. She here out of her own time. She came to come talk to me to my schools. She showed that she cared. When I felt like nobody else cared, nobody else wanted to see me do nothing but be in the gang or be in jail or dead. Well, some of the people who was under me, in my gang, I started talking to them and asking them, do they really want to change? Why do they really feel like they want to be in this? And I talked to them. I was asking them, do you think this gonna last forever? Y'all see where we going, y'all see where we headed to. We not heading in the right path, we just making everything worse. Some people started changing, and some people started basically branching off and saying they don't want to be into the group anymore, or saying they'll go and join another group because what I'm on, I'm trying to stop it, I'm trying to slow it down, make sure we're on the same page. And some people will actually leave and go to another group and feel like so they can feel like a family still. And I would tell them, like, that's not what we were supposed to be. And that's not, first off, we initiated from a rap group, or initiated from stuff we love, because I love art. The things that I was doing, getting in trouble and fighting and everything, for a cop to still be trying with me, then somebody still had hope for me. It was very surprising. She just, like, she cared. Basically, unconditionally, she cared. The cleanup, it was something that we all came up with. I wanted to actually come back and give back to the community instead of doing it in a bad way and making the community bad place to be and dangerous. I wanted to show that I can give back to the community. The same community that I was doing wrong in, I can do right in. I can still give back and stay out of trouble, and at the same time still have fun, because everybody wants fun at a young age. We came up with some ideas. We sat down with kids, with people who was under me and stuff. We sat down, did summaries, wrote about the things that was going on in our life. Well, presentations and what do we want to be in life and who was our favorite role model and stuff like that. We went to a theme park, Aquatica, and had not only a fun time, but we had an educational time too. We went to colleges, we went to beaches. That was the fun time. We went to beaches. They helped us on our interview skills. We did resumes, updating our resumes, pointers on dates. They took us shopping. Everything that would prepare us for basically life as becoming a young man, not just a kid. We were still young, but we was becoming a young man. Stuff that we wanted, but they didn't have to do. Not only Marquita, but the police department, none of them had to do it, but they took their time to come out and fun for us to do what we would consider fun and educational and stuff that we like. Officer Brown, she came and talked to me and asked me, like, do I have intentions on going back to school? And at first I told her yeah, but I didn't want to go back to school because I still felt picked on, still felt like the outcast. Everybody was against me. I was failing because I was failing because of me. Because it was nobody else's fault. I was failing because I didn't want to go to school. I felt like this ain't getting me nowhere. It's not doing nothing for me. Officer Brown, she introduced me to a school called, I had no clue about it, called Youth Build. And immediately, when she told me about the program Youth Build, I was looking at it, it was basically everything I wanted. Instead of being around a bunch of people that I feel bad around, I felt like that it's a bunch of new people that I don't know, and I can grow, start off fresh. I got into the program. It was a program where you work, you do construction, take online classes, you do all your work online, and you go to Santa Fe, the college. I was doing I was doing all that, and I felt confident. I knew I was gonna succeed. Yeah, I graduated with a 4.0. I never thought I'd be back in school. I never thought I'd be doing as well as I did, but I did it. After I graduated, a week later, I immediately got a job. Just like that, thanks to Mark Brown. I was working at the job. The police department, they'll come up there and come see me. It was a restaurant that I was working in, and they'll actually come up there and see me and give me, like, they'll support me just to come by and come see me. Then I went to New York. I got a job offer with the Cool Black Ink because I was doing tattoos. That was my side thing. But I was doing tattoos, and I signed up for the apprenticeship program and everything. I took a bus, a Greyhound, all the way to New York and I knew nobody other than my best friend. I didn't want to be around the people that was basically bringing me down, or I wanted to start fresh, a real fresh start. A job there with a company called Dwayne Reed. It's like a Walgreens down here. They say I came with a different approach. It's something that they did not expect from someone so young and someone just become a beginner. I never thought I'd grow up around the police department because I hated police, because I felt like they wasn't supposed to be doing what they was doing, and I was wrong because I was doing what I was not supposed to be doing, and they were just doing their job. I built up a bad reputation and expected them to not treat me how they treated me. So the young kids out there, I would tell them not to give up on hope. I would tell them they're not alone. I would tell them to never give up. I would tell them, whether you feel like it's nothing left at home or your family is broken, your family is the most important thing that you have. For people to actually run to the streets and feel like that the streets love them more than their family, I would tell them that's not true. Because regardless of the fact, your family will always love you, but the streets, once you're gone, you're gone. Or once you locked up, the street's not gonna put money in your pocket. The street's not gonna come behind you and keep on trying to help you to keep you out of the streets when they're doing nothing but pulling you in the streets. Yes, I appreciate Ms. Brown. Actually, I would say I appreciate her more than anything, because I wouldn't be here I wouldn't be where I am today, honestly. Not only just saying that just to say it, but I honestly wouldn't be where I'm at. Because the path that I was actually headed in, not liking the police, is not liking anybody. I basically didn't like people, period. I felt so down and felt so depressed and felt like I was nothing. She talked to me and spoke to me about the situation, that everything would be okay, and she gave me hope when nobody else would take the time to do anything. So I appreciate her more than anything. I could have been dead, but with her helping me and being by my side and guiding me through the things that was needed to be done, I was able to accomplish. I'm very proud of myself, because even as myself, I didn't think I could do it. Eventually I found out and knew I could do it, but I didn't think I could do it because what people told me. People told me I would not be nothing. I would be dead or in jail, or you ain't gonna never graduate, or they just talked down on me over and over and over. And I felt like that's what I got in my head, that I felt like was really gonna happen. I let people determine what I was gonna be until I broke that chain and became better than what people told me that I was gonna be.
I'm proud that my fellow officers sincerely care about the community they protect and serve. Thankfully, we were able to reach Guy before he walked down a very violent path and ended up in prison or dead. This is just one small example of the compassion that GPD has for each and every citizen. After a quick break, we show you how our command staff chose to give back recently. Don't go anywhere. Gainesville PD on duty. We'll be right back.
did not have any protective gear on, and I never thought I'd be hit. The only thing that anybody driving a scooter or motorcycle can do is wear protective gear, because that's really something that could save your life. My scooter was totaled. I have no desire to get that fixed. I never want to see it again, and I will never ride a scooter again.
I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, and never employing unnecessary force.
Welcome back to Gainesville PD on duty. You don't often think about the connection of the police officer and the construction worker, unless of course you're talking about the YMCA song, and no, I'm not about to do it for you. But recently, members of the GPD command staff, which are the middle and upper level managers of the department, joined forces with the Alachua County Habitat for Humanity to help finish a home being built in Gainesville. Our department is always looking for ways to connect more with the community we serve, and this opportunity was perfect. Let's see what they were able to accomplish.
Today we're here building a house for Habitat for Humanity, just one way that the Gainesville Police Department gives back to the community. We decided to do it together as a command staff of the Gainesville Police Department. You'll find all the lieutenants, captains, and our major here today working.
Well, we're in the finishing touches here, but it's great to see all the command staff out here working hard.
We're a nonprofit organization, and we really try to empower not just the people who are, getting a house through us, but also all of our volunteers, and kind of bringing people in the community together.
And Habitat for Humanity is constantly about giving back to the community, making the community better, and bringing those individuals who are vested in the projects, which means every person that actually receives a house from them, those individuals have to volunteer about 400 hours in order to be able to facilitate getting into the home. So they're working on other Habitat projects, and then they actually come and work on their own home, which gives people a vested interest in their homes when they are finished.
They come out of it knowing how their house was built, which I think is an extra bonus, because if you have a house and you don't know how it's built, it could be very expensive and difficult to take care of. So I feel like we really prepare our homeowners for homeownership. So this is a standard slab on grade, stick built, they call it, 2x4 walls. We've got polyiso in the roof, so it's a little bit more high performance than your standard builder grade house.
So I was an electrician in South Florida for around 4 years, and then I participated in my uncle's business on and off for the past around 15 years.
A cabinet maker by trade. I had to earn money for tuition for college. I don't like electrical because you get hurt. And plumbing can be a lot of fun because if you didn't do it right, you're going to find out real quick and you got a big mess to clean up.
Essentially, when I got here today, I was expecting to do some switching and plugging, put up some fixtures and things like that, but I got put on painting duty, which is fine. I can contribute in that way as well. And again, it's just knowing the sense of accomplishment that this house is finally going to be turned over to someone that's very deserving.
My assignment has been the trim work, which has been absolutely fantastic. We've been using a nail gun and measuring and cutting bevels and just putting up baseboards and trying to make sure that they're straight and even.
It's hanging some shelving, and we'll see what else we're going to have on the list today to do. It's like my wife having a honey-do list, but at a much bigger degree.
Well, I actually hit, I think, another nail with one of the nail guns, which bent a nail 360 degrees in a circular motion. That told me that I may need some extra training before I continue my job as the trim person. So right now I'm holding, measuring, and cutting because I can cut quite well.
We deal with volunteers all the time, so I take people as they are, so I'm happy. And that's, as a manager, that's what you do. You say, okay, these guys are good at focusing and getting stuff done, so you just focus them and get stuff done. That's what they're doing. So.
I think more team building than anything else. It's actually fun. I wouldn't even call it work, to be honest with you.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on demonstrating to all the troops is the ability to walk the walk. And in this case, getting our hands dirty, being out here, out of uniform, out of our element, so to speak, It should demonstrate to everybody, not only at the agency, but in our community, that you can contribute any way that you can, and you don't need a phenomenal skill to do it. By just picking up a paintbrush and helping out, that's all it takes to make someone's dream become a reality.
Good way for us to show the community that we're committed not only to law enforcement efforts, but also to paying back and giving service to the community. A big portion of the Gainesville Police Department is giving service and giving back in many different ways, and this is just one small way we can do it.
The fact that they have the opportunity to own a house that's theirs, is theirs for as long as they want it and can work on it, what a difference, because once you're a homeowner, you really are setting down roots forever.
As we know, we can't arrest our way out of crime. It is all about partnering, working together as a community, and everybody pitching in to make our community this solid piece within the city of Gainesville.
It's one thing to be a cop for as long as I've been, but to be able to return something to the community that's tangible, that you can point to. I can drive my family by and go, you know what, I helped build that house. That's a big deal.
It always feels great to give something back to the community you serve and protect. We encourage each of you to find a way to volunteer your time. You never know how your small act of kindness can affect someone in a huge way.
And that wraps up this episode of Gainesville PD on Duty. Be sure to find us online on social media or by visiting our website at gainesvillepd.org. You can learn more about the Gainesville Police Department and watch previous episodes.
Please reach out to us and let us know what you'd like to see in future episodes. We have aired viewer suggestions in the past, and we would be glad to do so again.
We hope we made you smile today, so pass that smile along to your friends and neighbors, or even a stranger. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Gainesville PD on Duty.
I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as public trust to be held, so long as I am true to the ethics of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement.
He said to me, Mom, I want to get a bike. And I said, Tom, I don't want you to get a bike. Something happens to you, I don't think I can go on. And he said, Mom, nothing's going to happen. He was a safe driver. He wore all the gear, but was a bike, so they're just not safe. You just don't have metal around you.